And we're live. Good afternoon, BounceBack Network, and welcome to the 8th episode of Global Entrepreneurship. I'm joined today by my colleague and friend, Colin Christie. Hi, Colin. Good afternoon.
Hi, Sam. Once again, good to see you.
Yep, I know. Imagine we're at the 8th episode already. Right? And Colin, we have a pleasant surprise today because we're also joined by our good friend, who took a leave of absence, Ken Dishen Maharaj. How, Dishen? Good afternoon.
Hi, Sam. Hi, Colin. Good to be back.
Although it's from
Welcome
South
back.
Africa,
We missed
everyone.
you.
So, yeah, we missed you, Dishen. So how are things, Dishen, in South Africa? So is it
Uh,
hot already or?
Carrying on, no, it's winter, so we're experiencing a bit of a
Oh.
cold front. But we go on, right?
Yeah, definitely. So I can see that you're wearing a Steve Jobs sweater, Dishan. So
I'm just missing the glasses, right?
yeah, that's correct. Yeah, in the jeans and sneakers, I can imagine. Like, Colin Dishan, I'm excited to for our guest, because we have an international speaker. For our eighth episode, and as you said, eight is very, very lucky in Asia. So that's why I'm glad that Colin, why don't you introduce our guests so that our BounceBack Network and Global Entrepreneurship family can get to know him more. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, it's my great pleasure. Actually, we have just a dynamite topic today and speaker. His name is Nazri. He's specializes in AI and cognitive analytics. He's got a couple decades already in the field. Here in Asia Pacific. He leads digital transformation strategies. He's worked with both private and nonprofit organizations. He advises on AI to literally dozens of organizations. He's also the chairman of the AI World Summit, which is a fantastic event. Chairman of the steering committee. So he's really been building a community of AI adopters and practitioners all around the world, already in more than 30 countries. He is well known to the Global Chamber family because he was awarded the Global Chamber 2020 Excellence Award for Global Partnerships and Innovation. And he was also named into the top 500 influential personalities in the Islamic world. So I could go on. He's got a top young business leader award. I hope everyone will pay close attention to this topic, but especially to the speaker. So it's very exciting that we can bring this sort of international expertise and talent to our stage here. With that, I would really like to bring in Nazri to the stage.
Hey, Nazri.
Hi, everyone. Hi,
You're
Sam.
welcome.
Hi, Colin. Hi, Dishan. Thanks for inviting me
Hi, Nazri.
into this little party.
Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
right.
On
I
behalf
was
of BounceBack Network,
basically,
welcome.
thank you. I was basically dancing and grooving to your opening credits. So
Yeah.
very upbeat and very energetic. Yeah.
Yeah. We're stick figures, that's why we were dancing. So Nasri, are you based in Singapore now or in Malaysia? Where are you
I'm
now?
based in Singapore now, and I take care of more than 20 over countries out of Singapore. I also head up the Malaysian office. It's not far off from Singapore, right?
I know,
It's about
yeah.
1 hour flight, and it's about 3 hour, 4 hour drive to KL. So I shuttle to and fro before COVID lockdown, but after which I still serve Malaysia, but I still serve 20 plus countries as a whole. Yep.
Yeah,
So we
we're
look
excited.
forward to our entry point into Philippines and getting to work with you, Sam, with Colin, and of course we have a team in Africa with Dishan. We're happy to have a global community, global friendship, and global win-win outcomes for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. Nasri, your topic is very important now because there's a lot of, I believe, perceptions about artificial intelligence especially from micro, small, and medium business. That number one is expensive. Number two, it's hard to really, understand what AI can do for your business, especially if you're a small business or a micro business. So I hope today you'll be able to share with us how, even a small business can go global through artificial intelligence. So, Colin, shall we give the floor to Nasri already for his presentation?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, Nasri, we're just going to, three of us are going to exit a bit, and then we're going to, give the floor to you. Okay?
All right, just cue me in. Thank you.
Yep. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, so good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I know a lot of you are in, managing businesses, big, small, medium, or even micro. So my assurance to you is today we're not going to talk anything technical about the technological aspects of AI, but rather what AI can do for your business. So we will not talk about the programming, the coding, and all the technical architecture that goes behind it. At the very best, it's only for few seconds and it's only one slide for you to appreciate what AI is and what AI is not. But more importantly, is it's about how we use AI for our business, whether it's to raise funds, whether to restructure our business, whether to identify the risks and opportunities. When we go abroad, we want to know the kind of risks and returns about a particular country. Even with limited or fragmented data, how can AI pull information all together and put it across to you in a decisioning way? That means it helps you to decide and recommend a step of action plans for you. This is what my session is all about in the next 20 minutes or so. So it's about predicting business and financial outcomes and how SMEs can transform, remodel yourselves with limited and fragmented data. I know the basic complaint is always about data, whether it's on privacy side, whether it's on availability, whether it's about usefulness, about adequacy. Don't worry about that. So we've worked long enough in emerging, developing, even as remote rural areas to the more advanced areas. Data is everywhere. 80% of it are very unstructured. Okay, things that you can get about industry, economy, about competitors. You can pull in information from the Lazadas of the world, the Shoppees, all the online platforms. So you can analyze consumer patterns on that. Yeah. So I think at the end of the day, people like us, the small, micro, medium businesses, want insights. It's no longer available just for the big boys. Even small players will be able to gain insights and recommendation. The keyword here is AI is not business intelligence. AI is not BI. Business intelligence means it gives you the visual, the charts, right? The visual, the graphics. So those are not AI, those are BI. Okay, business intelligence. But AI means that it's able to think, it's able to plan for you, it's able to help you decide what is the best option with words, with voice, and with basically analysis that supports the data, or rather the data that supports the analysis and the analysis that supports the recommendation. So it's about your daily operations, it's about your business, about the future, right? And this is where AI driven analytics is key. So I've got a few case studies for you here involving certain public information companies. But don't worry, whatever you see at the public can be done for SMEs and startups. So it's very important for us to use AI to anticipate, to expect what management of companies are likely to do so that we small businesses can learn from them the issues that they face, micro it down to a certain level. We can still learn from them. We can still benchmark against them. We can find out how they become big and successful. After all big companies started small, right? So it's important to know the leadership, the financial, the management side of businesses. So I put across here various public information, okay, that is spectacular, that's very sensational, at the same time very worrisome. Okay, so I put up here a company from Singapore called Hyflux, right? And they are such a darling of the country because they deal with water treatment, right? Water management plants. And we ourselves need water in Singapore. Tiny little country like Singapore needs a lot of water, right? And we depend on them. And what happened to them was they fell apart, right? They had some issues and they had some cash flow problems and the creditors are going after them and they basically shutting down, okay, with lots of drama in between because 34,000 retail investors lost their money, lost their life savings investing into the company, hoping to make money out of it. After all, it's partly owned by the Singapore government or the GLC, right? So what can go wrong? But as what Murphy's law says, what can go wrong can really go wrong, right? What you didn't expect can really go wrong. So, and then we have a Malaysian company called Serber Dynamic. Again, this about a month-old storyline about how they are in, discussion or in debate with the auditors. They are suing each other, and the auditors suspect them of some wrongdoings or non-clarity about their accounts. So it's a lot of people dump their shares and a lot of lawsuits are flying around. So very dramatic. Okay, and of course, Sears in the US is closing lots of stores, breaking down its operations. Co-Assets in Australia shuts down after missing funds. So all these issues that you see here are risks, right? So not to worry, I'm here not to talk about the doomsday aspect of it. Later you'll see how we can learn from the risk and how we can also use AI to basically expect and manage the future. So why is it important to look forward? We talk about anticipating what management likes to do, right? So here we need to understand for startups, it's important to understand the potential of startups. If you're investing in the stock market, then you want to know what's the likely direction of the stock price when you're investing in stock market. For SMEs, how do you make them become sustainable? And if you're a banker or financier, how do you accurately determine the likelihood of loan defaults or investment failure if you're an investor? So it's always important to not look into the past, but look into the future. With all the uncertainties that's going around, we always need an extra hand, extra brain, extra RAM, memory to basically process our analysis. So like I said, I promise you, this is the only technical slide that you get to see. Okay, so in order to understand AI, you have to understand the concept of neural network. Okay, and the left-hand side looks at quantitative data, financial statements, whether it's full financial or partial or 7 lines or 8 lines of data. Okay, spreadsheets, dashboards, payment, invoices, all these are called structured data. They are very quantitative in nature. And on the right-hand side, you see unstructured data or qualitative. In any organization across the world, 80% of data that exists within an organization or outside of it is on the right-hand side, qualitative, and 20% are very structured. So the question here is, if you are a human being, I mean, of course, we are all human beings, right? If you are making a human decisions, right? The idea is, how do you process, how do you ingest and digest quantitative information that's plentiful and qualitative information that's even more unstructured and more fragmented? So what AI does is it mimics the way the human interprets the quantitative and the qualitative information and turn it into something that is narrative for you to understand, all on a silver platter. So you have structured data and unstructured data, okay, that turns into what you call L1 to L5. It tells you what happened. Level 2 is why did it happen. Level 3 is what can happen in the future. Level 4 is what needs to be done or how do you recommend things. Okay, and level 5 is what you need to monitor new developments. How do you monitor new developments that fits into as a form of machine learning, goes back to level 1, level 2, level 3, 4, and so on. So life goes on. Even though you have your year-end or month-end accounting statements, there will be things that happen after that accounting period, right? For the month, for the quarter. So this information, whether it's relating to COVID, whether it's relating to economic data, whether it's relating to your competitors, talking about customer feedback, complaining or praising your products, all these will have impact on your decision-making skills. So I just want to show you the downside first of it. 2 years before high flux happened, not on a back testing basis, but on a forward testing basis. On February 2017, I was asked a question. Nazri, an investor, would like to know whether they should invest in high flux. February 2017. Okay, so what we did was we analyzed 2016 and 2015 information using artificial intelligence. The things that you see on the right-hand side with the yellow highlighted markers, these are computer generated. It highlighted all the problems and issues about the company. On the left-hand side was 2 years later where they lost money. So 2016 numbers that predicts the future, and then 2020, 2018, 2021 numbers that talks about the latest development. Now on February 2017, without looking at the machine, I felt that what can go wrong? What can go wrong with this company? So stupidly, or in a what do you call that? In a biased way, I'll say, why not? I mean, they are famous branding. What can go wrong? But then, as part of the procedure, fortunately, my analysts run the numbers through the machine. The machine generated a score. 12 is excellent, 1 is poor, 6 or amber, below 6 is below average, right? So it highlighted all these problems, and one is, so it can predict 1 to 2 years, and we've done so many ever since. From now on, I told myself I'm not going to interfere with the way the machine does, but what the machine says in front, I will take it forward and investigate further. So me, just like any other human, will have that bias about how we think. We can think fast, we can think holistically and all that. We don't. We have a bias framework somewhere embedded in our mind. And when you have the Chapter 11 companies, the US, you have Malaysian companies that used to trade very well, then suddenly they had a problem. All these are not back testing; these are forward testing. That means for that particular event 1 year ago, it looks forward about 1-2 years later. And then, sorry, there's some graphics issues there, but essentially just about the end of June, end of May, right, they highlighted all the audit matters that was highlighted by the system 1 year ago. Okay, so without going through deep into this, because we run individual webinars just on talking about case study, but I'm just demonstrating to you visually how AI can actually look into the future, detect the downside, but then again, how would SMEs like us be able to get the assistance of CFO robo-advisor at a fraction of a cost? Okay, so that the businessman or the businesswoman or the advisor will take a fraction of the time, fraction of the cost, and yet get a lot of in-depth understanding of their company moving forward. So in this current climate, no businessman or no entrepreneur could say, I know everything about my business, full stop. You can't, unfortunately. Okay, because there are things outside of your framework, outside your business that you need to be aware of, right? So for example, AI can be used by looking at 6-7 lines of your data, right? Whether it's monthly, quarterly, or yearly, right? It can profile you, conduct a health check, and then come out with a roadmap. It comes out with an action steps on how to improve each of the ratio, each of your indicator that is highlighted to be weak. All of us have weaknesses. Whether you're Microsoft, whether you're Alibaba, right? Whether you're Apple, there will be risks associated. Whether it's competitive, internal, external risks, whether it's financial in certain areas, AI can say it as it is. It does not have bias. It does not have fatigue, and it does it accurately. It doesn't have even moral hazard. Okay, like some auditors have when you're auditing big companies, right? You can see a lot of problems faced by Big 4, Big 10, because they could not highlight or wouldn't want to highlight, whichever way, right? Nobody knows. But the problem is when you have certain indicators that are very telling, AI picks it up, AI gives you the evidence and tells you what needs to be done. AI can also explain to you the business drivers. So this is the output. Whatever you see on screen here, these are all automatically generated. We call it the natural language. Okay, natural language generation, natural language understanding, and natural language processing. So it takes into account your financial data, quantitative. It takes into account your qualitative data, which is your operating environment, your competitors, etc. It even creates a visual and explains to you the cause and effects of your strategy, your operational, your investment, your funding gaps, and explain to you what needs to be done. Okay, and I inserted here the last minute talking about export readiness. For those of you who wants to venture into some exotic developed countries, you got to use AI in less than 24 hours. Okay, in our case, it's every 3-hour intervals, right? You will get a report once you submit the basic information of your plans, right? You will be able to tell you if you want to partner with somebody, how do you evaluate them? If you want to go to a country, let's say the screenshot here talks about an agriculture business in Brunei going to China. What is the ROI needed? What is the ease of doing business there? Rated by World Bank and rated by our rating, because our rating takes into account your financial readiness, your channel readiness, your market knowledge readiness. So before you venture overseas, you got to have an understanding of the country you're pursuing, the channel partners, distributors, the operating environment, the ease of doing business there, as well as a target company. So all these can be digitalized, automated, and processed and given to you in a simple report. So this is about export readiness. So again, nobody can predict the future to the T, right? So what AI can do is do a what if analysis. What if sales reduce by certain area? What if GDP? What if the economy slows down by certain percentage, right? What will be the impact it has on your profits? So this gives you a forward-looking perspective while taking into account the realities on the ground, but you can also do stress tests or what if analysis and explain what is the impact this has on your rating. Maybe you were previously green. Green means good, right? Or then you can be downgraded into moderate risk, and you can be upgraded into the robust category, which is black. Okay, so all of us can become mini rating agencies, mini companies as a result. And of course, when you want to involve or transform your company, the machine is able to restore and rebuild your business, give you indicators of your business health, identify which areas are weak and strong or moderate, and even tells you a 5-level analysis. If you look at the screen on the bottom right, right? You can see the fight. The machine thinks level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It tells you what happened. It tells you why did it happen. It tells you what can happen in the future. It gives you recommendation of what needs to be done. It gives you the outlook and monitoring variables out there. Then horizontally, you can see they talk about you having high leverage or your equity base needs to be improved and what sort of turnaround plans that you need to do. Right? So these are the kind of things that can help SMEs become sustainable. How long does it take to generate this? Right? So like I said, every interval of 3 hours, you submit your information at 9 a.m., you get it at 12 p.m. You submit at 12 p.m., you get it at 3 p.m. Right? To process, to clarify. All your answers can be done not by weeks, by months, but within a day. Okay, and this is the importance of AI. And a very interesting thing as I go through the slides, it gives you also analyze your personality or leadership style. It uses a big 5 personality analysis without you filling up any questionnaire. You can just talk to me. I can look into your press release. I can look into how you converse in social media with permission. Then it gives you an analysis of what you are like, how you're running your business like. For startups, entrepreneurs, where financials are less reliant, they will look at your personality strength, right? And guess what? You can then relate this to the management style and attributes. You look at your management style, compare against the unicorn leaders. You can compare this against the top business leaders you admire, right? The machine analyzes for you. It analyzes for you the percentile that you're in, and it compares against your business and financial impact. So this is not a wishy-washy personality test, right? But it is a very objective and a very data-driven perspective, very accurate, okay? But it also links and does a causation, not just correlation, causation on how you run your business. Why do we need to do this? It's like going to a business, go to a clinic, right? You go to a doctor, right? You want to know whether your blood sugar levels, you want to know your cholesterol, so that you can take some action plan because you are worried about your health. Your family is worried about your health too. So if you really want to improve your health, you want to take the necessary diagnosis and you want to take the necessary medicine or prescription for this. Same thing like for business, right? So there's some graphics here, but these are all the top 10, top 12 business leaders that exist. Maybe I can try to show you how it looks like. Can you see my screen, Sam? Okay. Can I confirm that everybody can see my screen here? Hello?
I have to be on stream. Yes, we can. We can. Yes.
So you can see the picture of limitless references to top business leaders, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm switching to the PDF format. So what I was trying to say is, based on your individual management style leadership, you can map it against your financial performance. So this is qualitative meets with quantitative, and then you can even learn how the mistakes, the opportunities, the innovation that is being carried out by the by the personnel, by the unicorn leaders. Okay. Okay, so you can see the references to top business leaders, right? Moving on. So there is a strategic must-have tool. Okay, uh, basically you can use AI as a form of strategic tools, and it's a must-have for professionals and business owners. And this can be done in 9 key areas. You can use AI to do valuation of your business. You can do for financial health check in the yellow box. You can do let me see, yeah. Okay, you can do the business partnering. You can do it for fundraising on the yellow side. And then on the green side, you can do on bankability and leverage. You can do mergers and acquisition. You can do budgeting, and you can do succession planning. So the AI part is only a small part of it. Okay, that means knowing your style, knowing your financials, knowing your impact. But more importantly is you must take action. And all this yellow and green box constitutes what you call business remodeling in times of crisis, in times of COVID-19 crisis. You need to understand what are the measures that you can undertake to improve it further. Okay, so this is the end of my slide. Thank you very much. So for all startups, micro, small, medium businesses, if you want to use AI to grow your business or manage your investments into the capital markets, do contact my partner, Colin Christie from Global Chamber Manila. All right, so thank you very much for your time and the opportunity given to us.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Nasri. Yeah. Hey,
Great,
Colin,
great,
we're going to
Nazri.
post your,
Excellent.
yeah, we'll post your email on the chat so they can get in touch with you.
Sure.
So, yep. Amazing, mind blown, Nasri. So it's a great presentation. So
I hope it's not too technical, because like I assure everybody, um, we are not here to ask you to develop AI. We are here to encourage you to feel and taste AI. So AI has many aspects of it, right? So there's the video part, there's the medical part, right? So from the context of SMEs, the 9 key areas that I highlighted earlier is very important because every business needs to do fundraising. Everybody needs business needs to model themselves or succession planning, budgeting, and so it can do the job for you, and you don't have to worry about data scientists, the cost, the ROI, because everything is linked to what you would have done it anyway, but in a much faster, quicker, and impactful way. I think that's the assurance that I want to. After being 15 years in just purely on AI, I think this is something we have to dispel any misperception or any bias you may have against the technology. Make technology work for you. You don't work for technology, right? But make technology work for you. I think that's the mantra that we have internally. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Nazri, great presentation. Thanks so much. You're so right. I think AI has crept into our lives in ways we don't even realize it, and in our personal lives, we use it so much. If we're um, uh, uh, looking at Netflix and we're getting recommendations of what movie to watch next,
That's
or
right.
if we're still driving, even with the pandemic, and we're using Waze to navigate, and it's showing us alternative routes and estimated time of arrival, or if we pretty much if we're searching for images on Google, and we're searching really for any information on Google these days, it's all AI, and we're no longer even wowed by that anymore. It's just like we take it for granted. It's like a normal part of our life, on our personal life. We just accept the fact that yes, AI is part of it. But then when it comes to business then we seem still to be more traditional. we're afraid of AI use in our business, in our small business, but somehow we've accepted it, in our social media lives and our Netflix, lives. So maybe you could speak to that a little bit, the fear factor. It sounds like it's so complicated or whatever. You've already, explained that a bit, but how do you encourage, especially the smaller sized businesses, to get started on, getting value from these tools? What are your thoughts on that?
Is this a question directed to me, Colin?
Yes, Nazri, to you. Yeah.
Okay. A very quick one. So, a business owner has basically two options, right? One for internal use, and the one for external showcasing. So, in times of COVID, let's talk about the external one first. You may be in the red, you may be suffering, right? You may be having a lot of problems. So, going to funders, bankers, investors, partners with your problems will not solve the problem, right? It will just make it worse. You will just admitting, and then you will just augmenting your weaknesses without having a plan. So in this case, when you are presenting to external, we're not saying that you should lie about your numbers. No, state it as it is, but have another layer of the restructuring efforts, the planning efforts, the future efforts that you are taking in a concrete manner to transform from red to green to black, right? So there is the what do you call it, transformational language that you need to put across to the stakeholders. If you're a small medium business, right, you have to have a plan. Say, yes, I have this risk like per any business, but this is our benchmark, this is our strategies, this is what we're going to do to turn it around, and this is the roadmap how we're going to do it. But in the meantime, please do business with me, please fund me, and this is the management credential. So there are a lot of packaging and convincing that needs to be done, whether during COVID or post-COVID, more so during COVID, right? So that's the external part of it that we need to consider. The internal part of it is that you got to know internally, right? How do you going to gather your resources to pay for your month-end salaries, your operating costs, right? How are you going to improve your margins? How do you turn from loss to profit? So internally, we got to come out with that business modeling exercise. So AI can highlight to you some ideas, some areas, some opportunities, some risks, and it can bring you examples of how other businesses do it from 100 other countries, summarized into one page, for example. So instead of you stressing out, you can basically find out how other people do it. So AI does not cure you, does not solve the problem. It takes the humans, right, to actually execute it. So AI is just an enabler that brings you, that lays out to you the roadmap, the GPS. It's like a GPS, but you still need a car, you still need a driver, you still need a car that has an engine that has a petrol to bring you from point A to point Z, right? So, but at least AI serves as a GPS. I want to manage everybody's expectation that AI does not solve everything, but it's a GPS that charts out the kind of things that you should do by looking internally and looking externally, by digesting millions of information and put it across to you in a customized manner. So this is what we do. Okay.
Fantastic. And I think, Colin, to further add, you're right. I think the misconception is that we adopt AI in so many other areas of our lives, yet when it comes to actually physically going about and implementing AI initiatives within our organizations or businesses, you hesitant, right? And I think it's to Nazri's point at the beginning. I think there's a huge misconception of what AI is and how it can actually be as an enabler for your organization, be it internally or externally. So Nazri, I have two questions, and I think based on the type of audience that we have, and for our coaching series, what traditionally, you obviously have a lot of data working across many different countries, and you see a lot of these patterns, right? But for purposes of our coaching series, what size does an organization need to be to leverage AI within their organization, and what does an
Yeah.
organization need to have in place?
Okay, very good question. At a broad level, there are two types of users, or rather adopters of AI. Yeah, one is those who wants to use AI. The other one who wants to build AI. Okay, so when you separate these two circles together and they overlap in between, right? Because middle means modification. So you have people who wants to use AI, and you want people who wants to build AI internally. So you talk about using AI, which is a larger population, so to speak. There are ready tools, so you can, for example, a WhatsApp conversation. Okay, let's say I'm texting with Dishan, right? I was texting him, and then we chat for about, let's say, half an hour, about 500 words or something. Text information. Let's say we are talking about business deals or business discussion. We are too lazy to get on board on screen. We just type, right? So AI can basically convert that conversation into a sentiment, into word link. That means it does a spider web of what the topic is all about. It can automatically summarize the key points, and then it can come out with a strategy on what are the emerging topics that exist. I think I my analyst online here. I'm not sure whether she's able to show that WhatsApp conversations that we have, but if she is able to share, if she is tuning in, maybe she could share the screen on how the conversation in WhatsApp look like. This is unplanned, but if you want to see the visual, I can show you. Now, when you are conversing with each other without financial statements, without invoices, without hard data with Dishan, right? So just based on that WhatsApp conversation, whether it's 20 minutes, 2 hours, or 20 hours, or 2 days, right? It can be curated and processed, right? And I can make recommendation, like, oh, the key topics that Dishan was talking about is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then AI will pick up the keywords. Okay, these 5 points are linked to 10 other issues that we pull out from external sources. So they say Dishan wants to go into Turkey, right? But we are not talking about the risk in Turkey, but the machine picks up the Turkey and the industry that he's in. Okay, and there's some few examples that he gave of some competitor. So AI can pull out all the premium information out there, not Google, but premium information linked to Dow Jones, pull it over websites and all that, plus premium journals, and it gives you a more holistic idea. And then it can predict into the likelihood that if you were to pursue it, the chances of failure or success. So when you are conversing, okay, Dishan can be $1 billion entity, he can be a micro entity, he can be a startup who's about to start a company. Doesn't matter. But that's purely as simple as WhatsApp. What more if you have invoices, if you have financial statements or accounting data, that will become more powerful. So to answer your question, finally, is that doesn't matter you're small or micro or startup, the minute you give your ideas and thoughts and inputs, right? It will pick up those words. It will share. It will provide the analysis very quickly.
True. Wow. So you would obviously have a lot of machine learning happening in the back end, because obviously there's obviously the financial elements, there's the political elements as well that are affecting various outcomes, right? Of when your data is being analyzed. So with regards to that, and if I may, another question, you mentioned showcase data, and if I understood you correctly, showcase data is basically the output that you would see once you've added that layer of AI over it, right? What and you obviously mentioned the healthcare sector, earlier on you mentioned financial readiness. Can your reports be used to go to a bank to say I need a loan, for example, or is it just for informational purposes on where you are with regards to the journey of building your business up for a loan? So how can that data be used?
Okay, from the perspective of a business, right? Let's say you're a startup or a small medium enterprise. Okay, you are less than 3 years old. You are growing between a revenue of 50 to, let's say, 200,000 US. You are barely making profits because you need continuous funding to basically scale your business, right? So how AI comes in is that, okay, assuming you have a pitch deck, assuming you have a pitch, elevator pitch about what your plans are, etc., etc. Or you are an e-commerce company, you are doing trading, So all these keywords that are being picked up, okay, will be able to look at the qualitative and quantitative numbers. They will tell you what happened, what is your current situation, right? Easy. Then it will tell you what are the scenarios that you can pursue. Oh, if you raise 100,000, if you raise 500,000, if you raise 2 million, what will be the impact it has on your strategies and subsequently to your top line and bottom line? So it becomes like a robo CFO as a start. Okay, you can think like a robo CFO, like a CFO. You can think like a CEO, right? At a fraction of a cost of an intern, right? So you're talking about a powerful system compressed into a small engine with powerful features that performs 100 times better than intern, but a fraction of a cost. How do you balance the logic? So this is what we meant by making AI accessible to all. AI should no longer be used by Fortune 500 companies, used by big corporations or public. So it can be done and used by even small micro enterprises. Okay, if I want to raise funds, how much should I raise? If I raise 500,000, how much should I dilute? If I dilute, if I don't borrow, or if I don't get from equity, if I raise from the bank, how much can I afford to pay monthly? So all these things start coming in. How much business should I bring in? So connecting the dots together, it will give you a summary of few pages of what you need to focus on. So it brings you forward into the future. It does not just look back; it looks forward. So I think this is the main thing, it is not just dealing with the business. We've done for hospitals, clinics, manufacturing companies, education, schools, universities. So it's no longer robo CFO, but it can become a robo educator. It can become a robo teacher, right? But it does not replace the humans. What it does is it helps to make AI accessible for those who wants to use AI, right? So make it faster, quicker, and then so you can spend time executing. So that itself
Yeah.
is a challenge. Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
that's just actually good to validate, for example, your maturity model, right, for certain industry. Like, instead of you, for example, doing a self-assessment, you can use your system to get all of these information, right, to really map where you are realistically, for example. So at the same time, it can be a roadmap for you if you want to go to certain markets, right? You can use it to map competition, for example, to
Yes.
get more information regarding that market specifically. Yeah. Lastly, Moises put here on the screen, the
Oh,
example
okay.
you said a while ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This is imagine me speaking with two other people. One of them is Christina Addition from South Africa. So three of us talking on Saturday midnight, and these are all the verbatim conversations, not perfect English. We call it Singlish, Singaporean English. So you can scroll down and you can see the conversations that all of us were talking about, right? Without knowing who speaks what as a start, right? And then what the machine does automatically is it starts to convert the conversation to assess the sentiment. So it will tell you whether the conversation is upbeat or very depressing. The words that we use, it looks on the right side, the emerging themes that came out from the conversation. You can see durian there appearing quite loudly without you reading every single word. You can see eat as a big topic for the three of us. And then you can talk about CB, circuit breaker in Singapore, PKF, and then big, me, or the noodles. Scroll down, and then you can also look into the word link. It shows how each words are connected, okay, in the conversation, in the sentence, and it can determine a pattern. Of course, this is almost like real time, but you can basically conduct more L3, L4, L5 analysis, prediction, prescription, and monitoring. This is just within minutes, right? And then even summarizes for you without you knowing all the full page and full conversation, notwithstanding the little bit of grammatical error, because our original source isn't even perfect when we were conversing in WhatsApp, right? You can see that we're talking about Big Four, but a lot of it then talks about social matters. That's why the sentiment is very positive, because it's not talking about work in WhatsApp. We 1/4 work, 3/4 is all about social matters, right? And these are all no human intervention. Yeah. So you scroll down, then it goes into the sciences of how the conversation took place, right? And this is just the basic stuff, right? And then even gives you a personality insights about if these three people were to combine together into a person, or if you were to join into a conversation, what sort of personality is this conversation all entail? So it does the analysis of that conversation. It goes through the big five personality analysis, big five values, and then it gives you a percentile analysis, right? And things like that. So this is just the basic stuff. But you want to link this to whether these three people make good business partners, whether these people, how do they compare against unicorn leaders, whether the likelihood of these three people break up their friendship in the next 6 months, it can be done. It depends on what you want to pursue. And all these through WhatsApp conversation. I've not even brought in hard data. I didn't bring in industry data. I didn't bring economic data. I didn't bring, the race or the racial denomination or the country of origin that we are from, that looks to cultural or emotional quotient and all that. Yeah. So this is one of the thousands of examples that we have that is being applied right now. It's just that we don't emphasize too much on AI. We look at the outcome. What exactly do you want to have AI do for you? Right. So this is what we do. As simple as this. So because it's so simply applied, that means anybody can use it. Teachers can use it. Doctors can use it. Right. Lecturers or trainers. Right.
Salespeople, Nazri, don't forget.
Oh yeah, of course.
This is a sales conversation, And in the
Yeah.
Philippines, we have a lot of BPOs here, and they, normally they use WhatsApp or or other messaging platforms to converse with customers, right? So
Yes.
this has a big impact on sales, for example, or even customer service, right? So if it's in the red, I think the customer is really pissed off. So this is
Yeah.
in a
So
way,
that's why we have to humanize it. You brought a very important point. You can't 100% take the system, not because it's not accurate. It is accurate, right? But you can't take wholesale from the information and then tell the policymakers and the ministers and the management, oh, you're crap, because the system says you're crap, or you are, you suck, you can't do that, because if it's bad, oh, you are deteriorating, so the machine says that in its verbatim form. You can't say, hey, management, you deteriorated, you have to humanize it. When I say humanize it, not say sugarcoat it, right? But I'm just saying that you should respect the culture. AI at the moment, lacks the human touch, right? Lacks the human sensitivity, right? So even when it interprets your health, your physical, biological health, oh, you are likely to die in the next 18 months. You can't say that to the human being, right? So you have to sanitize it, you have to explain it, but the facts are there by your side. But when you communicate to the human, you got to humanize it. So this is something that it's very, very complex for us to bring it down to the human, what do you call it, emotions. And ironically, it's a human emotion that we're trying to avoid when we are trying to explain facts, right? So there has to be a nice bottom line or inflection point where you balance a human and machine. Conclusion is AI needs human, human needs AI, right? And find that middle ground that can coexist and then bring the outcome that you want. I think this is what we are for. We are for AI for good or AI for impact.
I really love this example you showed, because it just highlights the point that it doesn't require tremendous inputs to get value. Your input here was very simple. It was a WhatsApp conversation. I mean, there's no expense required or no particular expertise required to gather up that source, that input, right, and feed it in. So I think that's quite fascinating. I think our audience are probably quite amazed at what you just showed. I know I am. Can I ask you a question? So that was a great example. You also talked about sort of the financial, risk analysis and whatnot. A similar question: does it require a huge gathering of inputs to get value? Or, can you give maybe just an example of something you've done that, if I wanted to, like you said, you're trying to raise funds or whatever, what are sort of the inputs that you would need to feed in to get value from the AI?
Okay. Let me ping my colleagues who will flash the SSM that leads to the level 2 report. All right. So it's my language to my colleagues. Again, this is unplanned showcasing, but if Miza, you can flash the SSM. SSM is the registrar of companies in Malaysia, the sanitized version of it. Raw data, 7 lines only, not full financial statements. Sales, costs, not even costs, sales, profit, capital or shareholder funds, how much you inject, and assets. 4 categories, 7 lines, 2 years data, historical, right? And very limited, very limited. So what I would hope my team can do is to show the raw first, the raw data, and then show how it's being transformed into a full report that accurately depicts what happened to that company. Okay, because shortly after we analyzed that, 6 months later, it was bought over. So you can see this is the basic information that we require from the registrar of companies, not even the full financial accounts, right? The balance sheet and the income statement, and it's not the full statements, right? So with this, machine can automatically generate that within minutes. Can you show the output? Okay, it basically becomes like a mini robo CFO that tells you the strength, the weaknesses, and what you must do and what you are likely to do. Okay, and all based on that limited. So, if any one of you is an accountant, you will argue with me, Nazri, how can you make sense of such limited data? It's only historical, blah, blah. We had that for 15 over years. And so we had to prove it through real companies, real testing, live, and all that until they began to realize it is what it is. So you can see that immediately it will generate an analysis of this company. Go straight to the second page. It will tell you, how much equity you have to pay your liabilities. Is the firm profitable? Is the firm growing? And all the narratives underneath it. It highlights the issues. It highlights the impact your strategies on your shareholder value. It looks at the risk areas to watch out for in a simple format. And this thing costs only $36. Okay, scroll down. And then if you scroll down further, it will give you an idea of your financial profile. Okay, there's a total of 11 pages of it. Scroll down. So it gives you your health indicators, like when you send your car for checks or you send your body for your health check, right? Then it gives you, wow, this company is good. Green, right? Green means good. Red means bad. And you can see why they are good and explains to you what are some of the issues, right? Even though it's good, there are some issues in between the lines. But hey, if everything is good about a company, what seems to be the problem? Right? And then the recommendation engine kicks in. Can you zoom in a little bit and highlight? You notice the language that we use is a lot of verbs: list down, examine, distinguish, compare, determine, because we don't want to scare the humans. We want the humans and machines to work together. But behind the scenes, we have a more detailed version that explains each bullet point. And one of the things it highlighted here is that ascertain whether there are any possible M&A or non-organic growth to maintain position, because the growth is not sustainable. The machine analyzes those limited numbers. It looks at the rate of growth. It looks at the margins. It's all plateaued. It does not go any further, right? It has challenges being in the information business. Then the one of the bullet points in the first page talks about whether there's any possible M&A. So this is done in, I don't know what month, I think February or something. What month is March, is it? On that same year, December, right? Okay. Financial year is 2017, yes, but this is on 2018 we met, or is it 2019? So whatever it is, in 2019, the company was bought over by the largest credit bureau in the world. Okay. So this is some examples. If you use it for M&A, you can get higher valuation because you would know what they're looking at. If you want to raise for funds, right, you want to JV. So you better do some of these action plans that the system recommended because those are linked to your margins. Those are linked to your costs. Okay. So scroll down. This is only page 5, right? So there's page 6, 7, and all that. It tells you all the information, even gives you the benchmark. Next page. Matrix, and then next page. I can't remember whether this has the benchmark component. Yeah, they have the benchmark. So it compares you against others, right? In the similar industry or competitors. Okay, so thank you very much for that. And very quickly, I know I've been showing a lot of fintech and business tech, right? But just want to show you the other extreme on healthcare, for example. So if my colleague can show, let's say, dialysis data, kidney patients, diabetes is one of the top 3 problems in the world. In certain countries, is the top. So using dialysis data, we can analyze purely coming from the machine. Okay, what can you analyze? Just go straight to the key points, the summary and all that. So it can give you a head to toe from your organ, from your brain to your heart, from your lungs. What's the situation about your health? Just now we talked about business health, right? This is your physical body health. When I did this project with the universities and the clinics, I got a lot of nightmares. I can't imagine how much poison I have in my body and what I should be worried about as a developer and architect of the solution. Scroll down, then it looks at your body composition, right? This is more for the healthcare professionals. So we can analyze things like that, whether it's health data, whether it's financial data, whether it's conversational data, whether it's manufacturing data, HR data, payroll, right? All these can be analyzed. Okay, then it can predict the likelihood of you having renal failure. Can you go to the next page? You can even plan what sort of financial health lifestyle you should pursue. Just press the arrow down to the next page. Thank you. This is the likelihood of you, developing type 2 diabetes, and then the other one will be renal failure, depending on which module you're activating. Okay. And then for those having problems with health issues, right, affordability, can you scroll to the last page? Last few pages, you're talking about insurance and all that. So medical affordability is very important. You can also analyze the financial affordability of you getting the dialysis treatment. Yeah, just scroll to the back. The back. Nisa, just scroll down the arrow. It's okay, it's nearing already. Okay, here you will see whether there's affordability of dialysis treatment, how much do you need, whether your current salary is enough, whether there's insurance. So this is the problem that faced by many, we call it below the poverty line or the sandwich class, So AI can do all this at the point of registration, at the point of treatment. Okay, thank you very much for that.
Wow, that's impressive. I thank you so much for showing actual use cases and examples, because I think it makes it relatable. We hear these terms AI and machine learning and all this thing, and I think I let the audience know I didn't give you this question in advance, so I was very impressed that you were able to respond so quickly. This idea of, wow, do I have to put together so many inputs before I kind of get any value to it? And I think you just prove it. No, even with very limited information, you can already get tremendous value. In your first example on the finance, it occurs to me, this could be so useful not only for looking at your own company, but for investors, looking at where they should be putting their money, or maybe looking at your competitors. How do you stack up? What are your competitors doing? For anyone looking at the financial health, I think they're just. What do you think, Dusen, Sam? Pretty amazing stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I like the visualization, especially the medical records. Normally, Nasi, when you see a medical record like a dialysis report, they're just text and numbers, right? This one really, it's great for number one, insurance company, for example, if they're going to cover someone. Secondly, for employment. I mean, I can imagine, HR talent leaders looking at the total picture of an individual they're interviewing, right? So they don't have to go for references anymore. Just by subscribing to their service, for example, they get a total picture of someone, from their digital, footprint, even to their health, data. So again, so it's actually, exciting for me and a bit scary too, because I also am a privacy practitioner. There's a lot of data ethics needed, for example, because something this powerful can also be used for nefarious end. But as you said, your AI should be used for good. And thankfully, that's the general direction. All of your use cases, Nastri. So, but I love it. I love the simplified retail version of it. So, I mean, it's really within everyone's grasp now. Having an AI system, you don't have to invest a lot in all of those hardware, software, infrastructure, and even talent. You just have to partner with you to get that. Actually, they have to partner with Global Chamber, right, Colin, for the Philippines, because yep, Global Chamber is the official partner of Nastri's firm for the Philippines. So yeah.
Right, and just to add a note, thanks for your kind words, Sam. It certainly has been a long journey, a long but rapid journey for us. We definitely face a lot of obstacles in terms of data in the beginning, right, and adoption. But now things are becoming more freely available. People are more acceptance of it. As long as we continue to advocate, we highlight the risks, like you said, the ethical part of it, as well as the impact of it, right? So, Colin's side and our side, and hopefully together with you, Sam and Dishan, right? We are setting up the Center of AI Innovation through Colin's side. So this Center of AI Innovation is designed to do just that, right? To cater for people who wants to use AI, to cater for people who want to build AI. So either way, we would love to do regular conversations and dialogues like this with you, Sam, and to bring about different themes on medical, on education, on healthcare, on manufacturing, and the list goes on and on, politics, or management, and things like that. So the more we advocate that through Colin's leadership, via this CAI, Center of AI Innovation, I think the more people will embrace it and use it responsibly, and use it to improve their lives, improve their business, and improve society as a whole. So we follow as you can see, the CAI, we follow the SDG 17 very closely, the Sustainable Development Goals by United Nations.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's for education, whether it's for healthcare, whether it's for poverty reduction, whether it's for environment, whether it's for climate change, right? We follow that very closely so that we don't digress, from what AI was meant to do. Hence, hashtag AI for good, AI for impact. Follow the SDG 17, follow the ESG, right? Aspect of environment, social governance. So with this, we encourage people to come to the center, contact Colin. He will basically be able to carry out more programs with us, and together with BBN and BET even, we can collaborate. AI has to be inclusive. We talk about financial inclusivity, right? With all the crowdfunding, with all the unbankables and all that. That's financial inclusivity. But we should not forget technological inclusivity, right? So everybody should not be left behind in the digital transformation, whether it's costs, whether it's timing, whether it's expertise, whether it's the execution side of it. Simplify it, make it available to everyone. Even if they take bite size, make it available at bite size. So we can package it in a way that it overcomes those barriers. So how do we know we're in the right track? Follow the ESG and SDG. So with that as a framework, right, we will certainly steer in the right direction. We won't go off tangent.
Yeah,
I love that statement. So yeah, 2 thumbs up for
Sam.
that,
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, Sam, if I could just add to what Nazri said, very powerful statement there that you made, Nazri. And I know we're live across multiple channels, and thanks to the BounceBack Network for all of the the reach that you provide, for these conversations. Let's just put out an open invitation, because I know we have a diverse audience, and especially to the policymakers out there. For example, I think Nazri, I told you the Philippines just launched the AI roadmap. We're in the process of launching the AI roadmap for the country through the Department of ICT. And so I think how do we turn these ideas to action? Let's put out an open invitation. Those folks who are looking for how Philippines can be on global footing for AI to, like you said, AI for good. Let's invite the people out in their audience to reach out and see how we can partner with them. So I think that's what our global entrepreneurship partnership between BET of South Africa and BounceBack Network and Global Chamber here in Manila is all about. It's about collaborating, being inclusive, giving access to people to these capabilities, so we can emerge from this pandemic, as you always say, Sam, stronger than ever. So Nazri, we appreciate your time very much. I think we've even gone a little bit past the time we asked you to be here with us live. We hope that you stay safe and healthy. Thank you so much for opening our eyes to this and opening opportunity for the Philippines to participate in these phenomenal solutions that you've been developing. Great stuff. Thank you very much.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Sam.
And so virtual clap for you, Nazri. So yeah,
virtual appreciation, definitely.
Yep. Those of us who are watching, going to watch us on replay, I can catch again. But we're going to post the links on how you can be part of, again, that what they call it again, Nazri. It's the Center for AI Innovation, right? So CEA.
That's right.
Yeah.
Stand by for that. Stand by for that. I think Colin has lots of things to share, lots of programs to bring businesses and even individuals to come forward and improve themselves, in specific terms. So happy to do that, and please stick around to hear more about the CEI in the coming days and weeks. So thank you, Colin, for this opportunity, and Sam too, and Dishan.
Yeah, thank you, Nazri. You're welcome to join us in our second season, Nazri, again. So hoping for your magic. Again, I've seen that the limit to your system is just our imagination. So and
like I said, we will do more case studies, more time for case studies, more. Whether it's individual, whether it's business, whether you're private, public, or non-profit, whether you're a think tank, whether you're a university, whether you're a school, whether you're a clinic. I think we should have thematic discussions on how analytics facilitates you to hit your goal. So I think this is where we want to, the more we hear, the more we apply, the more we learn together. Even for me, I'm learning every day as we speak. So thank you so much once again.
Yeah, thank you, Nazri. Thank you very much. So we're going to let Nazri go. And then,
okay, bye-bye, everyone.
Again, hope to see you again online soon. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you. Bye. Take care, Nazri.
Leave
Bye.
studio and take care, everyone.
Wow, okay, Sam and Dishan was amazing.
Yep, definitely. And I think we should encourage more people to really use AI with what we've seen. So, Colin, this is our roadmap. So we're done with episode 8. Thank you, Nazri, again for that. And of course, thank you, Maiza, Nazri's colleague. Colin, would you like to talk about the next episode? So what's happening? So
yeah, we're in the home stretch, aren't we? We're down to episode 9 and 10. So next week, I think we're tackling something that we really would like to encourage people to pay more attention to, which is legal and compliance must-dos for small business. I think there's some good news actually on that front here locally, in that a lot of the legal and compliance practices that used to be very paper intensive and queuing up in person and whatnot, a lot of hats off to the government agencies that have really been undergoing their own digital transformation. The likes of DTI, SEC, BIR, etc. They've really streamlined the processes And so there's sort of no excuse anymore for people to not be compliant. And so we have a very excellent speaker, attorney Christine Duran Schultz, attorney Marge. She actually is an entrepreneur herself. She runs two businesses, DDS Law, her law firm, and then a company called Filipino that is outsourcing services for accounting and HR and compliance and that sort of thing. So, so she's been through the entrepreneurial journey. So I think excellent. She's got fantastic academic credentials. She's both a JD and MBA. Filipina. So that's coming up. And then the final episode coming up will be on July 21. And we're going to be also focusing on the financial planning side. And we have from the Heinrich Foundation, who also works in the region. So the organization she's with is actually out of Singapore, but reaches all throughout Southeast Asia, and they really focus on this area of financial planning as well. So that's the coming up lineup. The lineup coming up, Sam.
Yep, definitely. So again, once we're done with that 10 episodes, we're going to upload it on our LMS. And then you can go for the certification. Hopefully you'll pass the exams, that Colin, Deshen, and I have prepared for you along with our speakers. So we ourselves are going to take it. So of course, we're going to test it. Yeah. So again, just some reminders, guys. So again, please, this is the roadmap. Hopefully for season 2, we'll be able to turn some of you into experts, those of you who passed the Adept certification. And then maybe after several more seasons, all of you will be better than us. So really the intent is to make you better than ever. So that's why we're here together, serving all of these great content, from local and international speakers. Okay, similarly, this is again, shout out to our LMS provider, Bluepoint Foundation. Thank you very much. Again, Deshen and Colin, their founder is former Senator Jovita Salonga. So 22 years of promoting open source. And right now they're helping us, of course, with our technology infrastructure. Also, shout out to Dominguez. Thank you very much for helping us with our media friends, Dominguez PR. They also have a strong digital team now, Colin and Deshen. So again, Tin and Mel, thank you very much for helping us. And of course, please do join our Facebook page. Just like it. Sorry, like our Facebook page at globalentrep.ph. And it's a growing group. But soon we'll be activating. We have one on LinkedIn already. It's not here yet. Look for us on LinkedIn too. It's at Global Entrep 2, right, Colin? Global Entrep PH has the same name, right?
That's right,
on LinkedIn, yeah. Yes. And yes. Soon we're keeping it under our chest. We're going to also be on other platforms because we have a young team helping us in that. You'll meet some of them maybe in the next episodes. Also, like our group, this is a group where our early adopter programs for BETR. And this is where we do more than coaching. We do mentorship. So please do join it also. And hopefully in season 2, you'll be able to join the part 2 of our early adopter program for BET. And of course, Colin, so...
Yeah, so we're offering 50% off on Global Chamber membership. So those of you who maybe haven't been with us in previous episodes, Global Chamber, I refer you to our website, globalchamber.org. So we have chapters all around the globe, and what we really love to do is make warm and trusted connections so that if you're trying to grow your business, even if it's just in the region or if it's around the world, then very likely we can connect you up with people who can really be of value to you, other members. So do encourage you to check out the website. And first time ever, we've offered a 50% off because we're really trying to, assist here with this, with people getting through this pandemic. So, invite you to take advantage of that.
Yep, Colin, and they can get access to, for example, what Nazri has shared, right? So if you're a member of Global Chamber, then you get, access to BET, to Nazri's company, etc. So it's like you're plugging into a global family if you become a member of a Global Chamber. So again, please take advantage of this one exclusively to BounceBack Network members and BounceBack Philippine members. And of course, Deshen. So sorry, here's the website of Global Chamber. Please go to the site, Global Chamber Manila. And Deshen, again, please remind them about BET. So yeah.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Sam. For those that haven't been a part of the previous episodes, we encourage you again to please watch them. They are available on our Facebook groups as well as will be posted on LinkedIn. With BET, as Collins mentioned, and I echo some of Collins' words, is that we want to be able to help businesses, but not only businesses, aspiring entrepreneurs with bouncing back, right? And with BET assists with just that, with regards to it being a business mentor and a business manager that you could actually use to run the day-to-day operations in your organization. But not only that, you actually have the ability to upskill and train yourself and your staff or your employees within your organization. So, coupled with the partnership and the accessibility of a global market, as we've seen with Nazri and the access that the Global Chamber provides, as well as the community aspect from BounceBack and what we're trying to achieve and build. And with BET on that, I think we're providing a great solution for aspiring entrepreneurs, SMEs, and startups to actually, again, as I mentioned, bounce back.
Yep, thank you. And of course, Dishan, this is again your special offer to the BounceBack Network. So yeah. Yep.
Yes. Again, as a commitment from BET, we are offering again. It's sort of unheard of, as Collins mentioned, from the global chamber point. But we are really serious on helping businesses and aspiring entrepreneurs. Not forgetting, I think we've seen a lot of solopreneurs coming out of the pandemic and on a global scale. And I think that having this type of support is really great from a community aspect and to assist you within your organization. So we are offering a 70% discount on our grow plans, as well as providing a 10% of the proceeds to COVID relief as well within the Philippine region. Just again, our commitment from our tripartite to helping the communities that these businesses support and operate in.
Thank you again for your generosity, Dishan, and of course, Colin. Thank you for that. Next episode, July 14, episode 9. So 2 more weeks, guys. We'll take a short break after that, but I'm quite excited. We're talking about season 2 now, right, Colin and Dishan? So let me just take up my screen to bring us all back. Okay, so there you go. So wow, it's like I'm a bit melancholic now, Colin, because we're nearing the end of our it's the end of our series, right? But at the same time, I'm really happy that we were able to put this together. We spent several hours, meeting about this, brainstorming about this one. So, but again, season 1 is on episode 8, and then coming to episode 9. So, and Dishen is back, so it's not a 2-man show anymore. So again, it's back to a 3-man show, right? So, any other message you'd like to give our viewers before we end the show?
Well, I just underscore what you already said. There's hours and hours now of valuable information. And I always like to tell people, I think I said it when I had my topic, I said, you shouldn't have food for thought. It should be food for action. You need to take action. That's probably the most important thing you can tell an aspiring entrepreneurs. Don't overthink. So what I would encourage people to do is visit the Global Entrep PH page on Facebook, and then soon to come our LinkedIn and also Instagram presence, and look at the information. But more importantly, reach out to us. You can PM us. You can post on our group. There's lots of ways to get in contact with us, and start telling us what it is that you're up to. We'd love to hear people's business stories, and just reach out to us. Begin the conversation, and then I'm sure we will find a way to engage. There's still an opportunity, even though we're coming towards the end of the season, to join what we call our early adopter program. So reach out, PM us. We'll tell you how you can get involved with that, and we really want to help you. That's the main bottom line. So,
and I think to further add to that, Colin, if you have any suggestions as well, on any topics that you would like us to cover, be it in season 2, anything that you would find value, of us talking about, by all means, please, we are open to those sorts of suggestions, as Colin's mentioned, and Sam as well.
Again, thank you, Colin, Dishan. So again, really, we're happy that you joined us. And those of you who are watching on replay, please, continue to join us every Wednesday here at the BounceBack Network. Again, on behalf of our founder, Jason De La Rosa, thank you very much. Colin, Dishan, really appreciate, you going this journey with us. We cannot do it without you, as you know that one. And again, our tagline now is no business is too small to go global. So again, On behalf of my colleagues, Colin and Dishen, thank you very much, BounceBack Network, for watching our show. And again, for our speaker, Nasty, really, AI for good. That's key. Thank you very much, everyone. See you again next week.
Do you want to have the foresight of Warren Buffett or Steve Jobs? Growing your business couldn't be easier. BET's unique and easy-to-use platform is your ultimate business companion. Available whenever you need it, no matter where you are, 24/7.
And who wouldn't want their business to do better? Whether you want to expand, increase sales, or spread out to new locations, it's important to know what you need to do, why you need to do it, and how you should do it.
BET gives you all the essential tools that you need to maximize your profits. Keep track of your finances, target the right customers, become an exceptional leader, assess risk, and set goals for your business. Cross-device functionality and a comprehensive toolbox of downloadable pre-populated templates are just some of the benefits of BET.
Let BET show you the what, why, and how of setting achievable goals for your business